Afghan citizens are reckoning with life under the Taliban's militant rule as women in the country protest for equal rights. Joining us now to discuss what's next for Afghan citizens and Americans trapped in Afghanistan is Louisiana talk radio host Jeff Crouere and Democrat strategist and CEO of DMG Global, David Morey. Gentlemen, thank you for taking time. Happy Labor Day to you. Let's jump right in to the debate over Afghanistan and what this means. It has been 5 days since the U.S. withdrawal, and the administration still won't say if a single one of those 100 to 200 Americans left stranded have gotten out. Let's start with you, David. What do you say?
Well, they got to get them out. That's priority number one. Listen, this gets right to President Biden's competence. I advised the campaign, but I haven't advised them on Afghanistan. And you see that in the new polling, 45.5% Real Clear Politics average. Only 3 in 10 Americans support his withdrawal the way it was done. But this is a bigger issue, by the way, than this administration. 4 administrations, 4 U-turns, 10 strategies over 20 years. You know, that's one of the lessons America will learn. One strategy, and you got to stick with it. And this is a painful way to learn that lesson.
Jeff, what do you say? Has this debacle in the evacuation become a political liability for President Biden?
Oh, I mean, definitely. I think President Biden will never recover from this, Griff. He turns everything he touches into a disaster, whether it be the economy, whether it be the border, whether it be energy. But this is the worst of the worst. I mean, Americans did want to leave Afghanistan after 20 years, but the way this president did it is an abomination, Griff. I mean, he left without our Americans. I mean, we left hundreds of Americans as hostage, and these are terrorists. I mean, I think we've got to remember, this isn't some civilized government. These are terrorists that we've been fighting for 20 years. I do not trust the Taliban. No one should trust the Taliban. These are people that could harm our Americans and also the Afghans that worked with us. Women's rights, I think, are going to be impossible under this regime. I mean, this is an utmost disaster, one of the worst disasters in American history. And Joe Biden is responsible for this.
And David, the administration, in fairness to them, are saying, hey, we're going to watch what the Taliban does, not what they say. But obviously, if history is any prelude, it doesn't portend well, particularly for women. But you've advised campaigns, David. What will you advise to Democrats right now? Does this have political ramifications in the midterms?
It does, but I think Jeff's exaggerating on how cataclysmic this is. This is not existential. He can recover from this. It is a setback for the administration. It is a foreign policy problem, but it's bigger than one administration. Remember, Donald Trump set a May 1 deadline, and in some ways that booby trap was handed to the new administration. I think they should have taken a different course, but they did not. You have to give them credit for getting 123,000 people out over 10 days, an unprecedented historical evacuation. But there are, 77% of the American people want out of Afghanistan. So that's something I think Jeff is neglecting. The question is, will Biden be able to jump back onto the confidence?
If I could just make this point, Jimmy Carter never recovered from the Iranian hostage crisis in Tehran. This is 10 times worse than that.
Why? Why is it worse? In fairness to David, who says we don't have hostages yet, but yet we don't have any American out. But why specifically do you say it's worse?
They're hostages, Griff, because they can't leave on their own accord. They're being held there against their will.
Yep.
You know, every one of those Americans want to leave Afghanistan, but they're being prevented by terrorists. And remember, these are terrorists. These are killers. These are 7th century barbarians who stone people, behead people. They do not believe in women's rights. These are not people that we can work with, okay? This is a regime that's illegitimate. And we've been fighting them for 20 years for a very good reason. They're the enemy.
David Morey and Jeff Crouere, thank you for taking time. We've run out of time here at the end of the hour. Thank you very much. Have a great Labor Day weekend.